Hi everyone, I'm here with Heather Swenddal and Jade Bilowol, our most recent recipients of the 2013 Teaching Award at RMIT. So we're delighted to have them both here with us to share their experiences of both receiving the award, but also their time at RMIT so far. So Heather, I might come to you first. Can you tell us, when did you first join RMIT?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny question for me, actually. I've been a part of the RMIT community for more than 5 years now. I joined right after my CELTA in 2008 and taught here for a year. And then I went back to San Francisco, California, where I'm from, and got my master's degree. So I was away, had like a 3-year hiatus, then came back last year in August of 2012. So in a way, it's been 5 years, technically a little more than 2 of actually teaching here at RMIT.
Mm-hmm. So that must be almost about the same for you, is that right, Jade?
Sure, I started here in June 2010, so that would mean this is currently my 11th semester here. Before that, I was only in Vietnam for about 3 months. I came here in February 2010, and previously I'd been working in Australia as a journalist and then in PR, so I didn't have much teaching experience. My mother, to be honest, had been a high school teacher, and she told me, don't do teaching. But yes, of course, as it worked out, I'm teaching now, and it is a wonderful job.
And obviously successful. Your mother was wrong.
Oh, she's happy for me now.
Sure, I'm sure.
So I also wanted to ask you guys about what programs or courses you've taught on during your time here so far. I might come to you, Heather.
Okay. Well, I've been with the English language programs for the whole time that I've been here. When I first came here, like my first year-long stint, I taught in mostly the lower levels. So I was teaching a lot of pre-intermediate and intermediate courses. And then when I came back after my master's, I was very focused on academic writing, so I was really interested in working with more kind of discourse level composition work. So I taught level 6 for quite a while, well, not that long, but a while, felt like a while. And then I moved over to CEP. So it's mostly been English. I did actually come over to your neck of the woods, so to speak. When I was here before, I taught a workshop in the professional communications program on writing for different audiences. So it was kind of cool to do both.
Awesome. Okay, well, I teach obviously in professional communication, as Heather hinted before. So I've taught complementary skills for communicators, which is now archived, introduction to PR, specialist PR, strategic PR, ICP, interdisciplinary communication project, and I'm sure staff around the university are familiar with that because the students actually execute real-life campaigns around the campus, so they get to put their skills and knowledge into practice there. And I've helped out another colleague, Mayan, with workplace orientation. So yeah, I've been lucky in Profcom, I've been able to do quite a bit. And this semester I'm teaching intro to PR, specialist PR and strategic PR, so 3 of the 4 PR courses.
Great, interesting.
Well, in talking about your current classes, what are some of the things that you're enjoying the most about your teaching with these classes right now?
Sure, this semester I've really noticed that the students are really keen, and eager to participate in the class. I mean, we're lucky in professional communication. Our students tend to have a propensity to communicate very well, but this semester I've really noticed whenever I ask a question, there's always an answer, well thought out answer. They love engaging in role plays, debates, and class discussions, etc. So yeah, it's nice to feel that buzz.
And how about you, Heather, with your students in English?
Sure. Yeah, good question. It's interesting that you said role plays because that's something that we've been doing a lot of in English. And I feel like, especially at the higher levels of academic English learning, it's really about discourse learning. And so it's learning about kind of how to speak, but also how to think and how to be in an academic English environment, but also, since we're training a lot of future business people, in a business environment. So for me, I think the moments that are most thrilling are those moments when I see students really trying to take on some of the trappings of that discourse. You know, they try out a word that's a new word. I think the word colleague is always interesting. It's when students use that the first time, you know, they're saying college instead of colleague. It's a new word just to pronounce. But it's also a new concept of thinking of each other as resources and thinking of themselves as having certain obligations to their colleagues. So when I see students start to take that on and to produce these things automatically in conversation, sometimes they don't really realize that they're doing it, but I see it, and it's really magical to watch that transformation of them taking ownership of those things.
Mm. Well, thank you for sharing some of the things that you're really enjoying about your classes just now, but we know that teaching isn't always an easy thing. So I wanted to ask you what you find some of the things that are challenging in your teaching life here at RMIT as well. Jade?
Sure. I suppose a big challenge for me, and I'm sure it's for everyone because we've only got a certain amount of time, and often there's time pressure, is when tasks feel like they become administrative rather than, you know, for example, marking, it becomes administrative rather than an opportunity for you to really evaluate and reflect on the quality of your teaching. You know, so it's always really important, no matter how busy you are, to try and make time to really look back over what the students are getting, what they're perhaps having difficulty with, and trying to adapt and help boost their learning process and their learning experience. So yeah, it's always a matter of trial and error and trying to, for me anyway, whereas not just going, okay, I've got to get through this marking because I've got no time left.
I don't think you're alone at all, actually. In fact, it's kind of amazing that you just said that, because that's what I wrote down. Same answer. No, but I was thinking about those two concepts quite a lot when I looked at this question, about the issue of time management and the issue of purpose and planning with objectives and being really objectives oriented, which is kind of a challenge sometimes when you're overwhelmed with administrative needs and with you know, things that just have to get done in your class for your students and from you. So I think, you know, for me and for a lot of teachers in English, I think time management, when you're grappling with these very long classes, so we have these 4-hour integrated skills lessons where, you know, it's one teacher in the room with the students for 4 hours, maybe with a break, always with some kind of a break, a half hour or sometimes a little longer. But planning those instructional moments is difficult. Making sure that you're making the most of that time is challenging. And I think that for teachers who are teaching 5 days a week of that, it can be a little bit overwhelming. They can really get caught up, I think, in just all the things, all the monsters they have to feed, all the different things that have to happen, including the marking. So time management is an ongoing challenge for every teacher. You're not alone. And then purpose, coming back to, you know, what's the core goal of this course? What are my objectives for this instructional moment? You know, yeah, things felt good. Yeah, the students had a good time. But have I really met my aims? That's something that has been really critical for me and a real focus for me since I returned to RMIT last year. And I've been really fortunate to be involved in some great initiatives to just foreground that a little bit more in our teaching culture, because I think it's really critical.
You know, that's interesting also about, you know, looking at the learning objectives of the course, and, you know, there might be something you do in the class that is a cool little activity, but does it really help them reach where they need to go? So you do have to be critical and analyse what you're doing, and sometimes, let go of something you might personally like.
What is it they say in advertising? Kill your darlings? You have to kill your darlings in your lesson plan sometimes.
Exactly right.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because what I know of both of you is that you consider your students to be your darlings as well.
Oh, we don't kill them. We want them to live.
But I think I might know the answer to this, but I did want to ask anyway, what is it that then inspires you in moving through those challenges? What motivates you as a teacher here at RMIT in general?
Okay, you want to go?
Sure.
I can say something if you want to.
Yeah, go.
Because in some ways this is the most challenging thing, and I didn't write very much for this. But I had a moment. I'll tell you about a moment that that I've been kind of going on all weekend and for the last couple of days. We had a very, very difficult listening. One of the most difficult listening activities that I think the students that I'm teaching right now have ever encountered. It was an authentic text. It was a, kind of a bad recording quality, but it was really important for them. And I set it up, I worked so hard to set it up in a way that I thought would be pretty well scaffolded, and I talked to them a lot about the importance of really grappling with it, even though I knew that I was asking them to make some sacrifices of their time. It was absolutely thrilling to me that, this was about 2 weeks ago, last week, one of my students said, Heather, I think I'm finally getting the point of that listening, and I've been applying it to these different situations. The idea that he took seriously what I had said, and that sometimes we're begging students, please take this seriously, please listen, please please focus on this and try to get the most out of this. To see him doing exactly what I want for them, to take these things and not just treat them as kind of one-off practice activities, but as opportunities for deep engagement in ideas. To see him doing that, to see other students in the class taking it seriously and doing that was really thrilling. So I guess the simple thing is the students, but the bigger thing is, to tease that apart, is just those moments when you know that you've had an impact on the way they think and the way that they approach learning, and that you're going to have maybe a long-term impact on their lives. I think that's why we do this. I think that's why we sacrifice. It's worth it.
Oh, look, I couldn't agree with Heather more. For me, I find this job much more rewarding than any other job I had previously, because you get to work with so many people from this young, dynamic, upcoming generation, and yeah, it can be just the little things, like a little email they send through to you about something that they've learned or discovered, right through to the big things. So when we had the graduation just last week, and I'd seen students that I taught intro to public relations with in the first semester, and you remember them then, and then you see them now, and they're at their graduation, and they're going out in the workforce, or some of them have already got jobs already, and that is so rewarding to be part of that journey. And when they say to you, "Oh, thank you so much for your help," and that is excellent. And of course, I love also working with the staff here at RMIT, the team that I get to work with in ProfCom. They've really, really helped me, because when I started, I didn't know much about teaching, and they were fantastic. They always helped me, guided me with everything. Yes, so the staff, definitely the students, and yeah, whether it's the little things that they do, like in the classroom where they have a light bulb moment or something, and right through the bigger picture where you're seeing them develop. It's awesome.
Because we can see it in them, and they can't always see it in themselves. And yeah, I think we're really privileged to be able to interact with them at this stage in their lives. It's such a magical time. Your late teens, early 20s. For some of them it's a little bit further along, but just being able to be there for those moments, I feel really privileged.
And they are amazing. That they can study this in their second language. I could never ever do in Vietnamese what they do in English. I tell everybody that. I'm the first to admit it. They're very inspiring.
Their diligence, their hard work is inspiring.
Well, I think in hearing you speak about your students, it's actually similar to what I'm sure your students would say about both of you. And at this point, I did want to congratulate you both on the awards. And it's very recent. You had the ceremony on Sunday. But in part of receiving the award, you both probably have some plans for 2014. So I just wondered whether you might share what you're planning to do with your award, and share that forward here at RMIT. So we might come to you first, Heather.
Sure. This is such a delight for me and such an honor. The recognition itself is thrilling. It's been really humbling and overwhelming to have so many of my colleagues coming up to me and congratulating me and you know, just to feel that sense of recognition, it's really an honor. For me, it's also really exciting to know that I'm going to have some resources, time primarily, to do some research that I've wanted to do for a long time. You know, we were talking about time management earlier, and sometimes it's very challenging for people who are at our stage in our careers where, you know, we love teaching, we've done a lot with teaching, but we're also starting to expand maybe a little bit and do some research and be interested in that. So I started research in my master's program. I started really getting interested in social interaction research, looking at classroom interactions specifically, obviously. And so one of the things that I've been really fascinated with for years, for my whole teaching career, is teaching moments. Those moments that sometimes feel really magical, and you look back even 5 minutes earlier and you say, how did that thing happen? I'm sure you've had moments like that, right? And you think, well, how did that happen? I want that to happen again. What did I do? Because that's the amazing thing, you know, these moments, they're socially constructed, they're co-constructed with the teacher and the students, and we don't always know what we're saying, you know, moment to moment. I mean, we know what we're saying, but we don't always know, you know, we don't always have these things written in our lesson plan. We sometimes say things in the moment. So what I'd like to do is videotape classroom interactions, obviously getting all the ethics approval and my ducks in a row, but videotape classroom interactions and then look at some key teaching moments in which things could have gone one way or could have gone another way, and analyze, okay, what did the teacher say in that moment? Was the teacher agentive? Did the teacher have a role in eliciting some kind of reaction, maybe a, you know, metacognitive awareness on the student's part of, oh, I have this kind of problem, or oh, this is how I think, or, you know, did it result in some kind of, you know, community discovery? So I'm really interested in doing that, and I'm hoping to take part in some training that's happening in England in January with some big names in the field. And so if I can get into that workshop, that'll be really great. Actually taking these interactions, transcribing them, then showing the videotapes to other people in my profession and talking through those teaching moments and just trying to really get to the heart of what's happening in those moments. So that's my long answer. My short one is I want to do social interaction research.
That sounds awesome. Okay. I plan to start a Master of Teaching. So yes, I'm going to apply by distance, and Monash, and I think it's the University of Ballarat, are combining to become a Federation University, and I'll do a Master of Teaching by distance online, and so it'll be great to get that little bit of time off, because I didn't get a Bachelor of Education or a Master of Teaching, so I'd really like to have that official qualification under my belt, because I did enjoy the grad cert a lot, and yeah, I think that this could help me, and it's something I can actually, what I'm learning, apply into the classroom, like the grad cert. So yeah, that's for next year.
That's exciting. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yours sounds really cool.
They both sound really cool. So we're coming to the end of our time together now, but I just did have one question for both of you, given that you're both experienced RMITers and RMIT teachers. So what advice would you offer to a new teacher about to embark on their teaching journey here at RMIT?
Look, I think that ask your colleagues as many questions as you can. You know, when we first start, we're worried about, you know, the material in the, you know, the P drive for that semester and just getting through it. But, you know, the teachers at RMIT are incredibly talented, and you know, they know what they're doing. So, you know, just ask them a question, ask them, look, this is my idea, can I have some feedback? I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. Be kind to yourself, you know, it's a matter of time, you know, you're new, so you'll get there, you've done your first semester, then you've done your second semester, and you'll keep learning. Just try and, you know, find out as much as you can about students, their backgrounds, what's going on in the industry at the moment, so get in touch with some industry people here, find out what the latest trends are, because that obviously then helps inform you about where the students are going later, and if there's something you can tell them about now or adapt some materials or case studies to help them. And then also, and this is something I heard Melanie Brown, our senior lecturer in Profcom, say recently, you know, if the students seem disengaged, you know, do a bit of soul searching and ask yourself what could be the cause of that, and try and improve the situation so that the students do become more engaged.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jade.
Wonderful.
How about you, Heather? What would you say to a new teacher joining the department?
Well, I love this question because it really made me think back to when I was a new teacher joining the department. So in 2008, I came here. I walked, actually not through this building because it's new, but I walked through those halls, and I remember feeling very intimidated. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this is a really professional environment. Teaching was my second career as well, and I actually worked in journalism and public relations, and so I didn't start teaching until I was 30 years old, and went to Korea for a year, kind of, you know, testing out this profession. So you can imagine that RMIT was quite a step up from the language school that I had taught at for a year. Just had that and a CELTA when I walked through those doors. I made the mistake in 2008 of being too intimidated by people who had been in the profession longer than me. And so I remember I kind of hung out on my little side of the office, and I talked to other people who were kind of newbies, and I think I was too tentative, too afraid to ask for advice from people who had been around a little bit longer, or people who had master's degrees. I was terribly intimidated, and I kind of was doing this fake it till you make it sort of thing. And I think back and think, gosh, what a shame that I wasn't a little braver. I wasn't, you know, claiming the right to speak, as Bordeaux would say. Now, I look at people who are in that role, and, you know, and I always try to do my best to make them feel comfortable and help them just to see how important I think it is for them to feel safe asking questions of their colleagues and admitting when they don't feel confident about something, or feel like they know, you know, they have their head around something completely. So yeah, that long way around the block was just to say what Jade said, that you know, taking advantage of the resources that you have here. You know, we're all learning. This is not easy. There's no magic formula for teaching. We're all constantly grappling, and that's what makes it interesting. So take advantage of the resources that you have here with this amazing community that we have. Throughout the campus, and then in the ELP specifically, talk to your colleagues, ask them questions. But, and I'm totally parodying you, but I planned this ahead of time, but don't lose touch with the wider community in our field, because the TESOL field especially is just rich with resources and with community opportunities that extend beyond RMIT. So go to conferences. We have Camp TESOL coming up. That's a great one for people who are newer to the profession. Go to conferences, make friends, get to know other contexts and people in other contexts. Read a lot. Inform yourself about what's going on outside of here, so that you have that broader sense, and so that you feel a sense of self as a professional English language teacher or teacher outside of this one context, and then you'll have transferable skills and transferable confidence.
Yeah, and also, you know, if you're coming through, lecturing, and you haven't done much teaching there at the grad cert is excellent. It's a great opportunity to really start learning about some of the latest trends, and you actually can develop activities you can put in the classroom. So it's very practical, and I found that really helpful.
Yeah, that's really good point. That's really good point. Yeah. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
The person behind the camera. Yeah. Take advantage of all the professional learning opportunities we have here. That was sort of meant to be encapsulated in what I said about community. But obviously, you're very lucky, newbies, because at this institution we have a wonderful professional learning program that will support you with training and with just thinking through what's the next step for you in your career. So really take advantage of that. That wasn't nearly as robust when I was here before, and it's been a wonderful addition.
Okay, well, on that note, thank you both for sharing your experience of not only the award, but your time here teaching at RMIT.
Sure.
And you're both stunning examples of teachers within our community, so we wish you well with your continued journey over the next however long, however many years. And good luck with the research.
Many years. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
guys.
Fiona.
See you later.